One. Before we get into this evening's live, I'd like to go over, a quick overview of what is transpiring right now. Sorry. Everything is a little discombobulated in my house. I have so much stuff going on at once. But I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. I know it's a pretty wild time in crypto. I know it might not be so exciting, and it might even be a little difficult to, stay, let's be honest, be balanced and not allow our emotions to kind of take over here, as it seems like day by day, week by week, month by month, since at least the late December, early January peak, that we continuously seem to give ourselves a little bit of hope, and very quickly we start coming down. But right now, we still haven't broke down that incredibly important layer. So from that standpoint, we don't really need to worry yet. We're not in that zone yet where we're like, oh my God, like this is make it or break it territory yet. Because we're still very much on the outside of here, and $2.22, an overwhelming support. I know there's lower FVGs, but before you can get, we've got to be able to see if this area is going to hold or not. So it's basically this, and this is why it's urgent right now in this particular live. And yes, it's a little busy time for me, as you guys know, but I still think I can put out a somewhat good product here this evening, showing at least this regard. All right, so XRP, we've got what looks like could be a bear flag here. So let me get rid of this so there's not as much noise. I don't want so much noise right now. I can draw all this back, but I need everybody to focus in on this area because it's so friggin' important right now. And I'm not putting the comments on yet. I'm not even sure there's anybody here really. Okay, never mind. 77 people already, but the point is I think this is very important. So if you're coming in here now in the live, or if you're watching this after, pay attention to this exact part right now, because this is I don't want to say it's the make it or break it moment, but it's definitely that zone where it can bring us from a very swift reversal up or coming back down to retest an area that we've come down, but we've not technically bounced off of the line yet. I mean, we've come close, but sometimes I talk and forget to breathe. So this right here, is this a little bear flag? And we'll know if it gets rejected either at the 237 or even as high as around 238 and a half, maybe a little bit higher. If it wants to sneak up a little bit towards 240. And then it would come down. And then the target would be down here around 222. That's important because that would bounce off of that. It's a falling channel we had here, but it's technically the bottom side of this falling channel is the very important level right here, especially if you start going boom, boom, down to the inverse head and shoulders. We needed to hold this at all costs, and we did. We did, because if you're looking at the, if you're looking at this right here at the head, if you go farther back in the pattern, it's creating a big inverse head and shoulders, and this is imperative for this to maintain, because this is an inverse right shoulder. Now, I'll pull it back out farther in a second. But first, we're looking at the short term here, and I can do it in the 2 hourly. We can do it in the smaller time frames, but I think this is important because we have a golden cross. I mean, a death cross here. So this is where we're going to decide with the pattern. Is this a short-term pattern reversal? And we're heading back down. And that doesn't mean we're overtaking back to bearish momentum. You'd have to retake below $2.22, and that's going to be an ever-changing moment, because right now it's 222, but if we get to, let's just say, Sunday, that's 216. So with the impending escrow dump coming on the 1st, like it always does every month for XRP, and the weekend looming, and we all know the story about the weekends. We can argue about this past weekend if we had a big reversal or not, but we didn't. I mean, we haven't really done nothing on the weekend, but at least we were able to not go crazy deep red over the weekend. But right now, we're just in that moment. So why it's so important right now, if this isn't a bear flag, then we have to make this a W reversal, break up, and then ultimately retake this $2.45 area, and then start pushing out. We at least need to invalidate this drop. At least come up here and invalidate the drop. So that's something we're going to have to try to do here. And if we don't, we get rejected either here or here, more likely at 239 probably. And then it comes down, that's a bear flag, and then the technical target's going to be down here at 222, and it just happens to line up with that lower resistance, now support area on the breakout of where we were in that falling channel, which was actually just an inverse head and shoulders. Here, I'll draw it back out for anybody who's new. Let me do this. for anybody who's new, we had this drawn out, and this is before it even created that inverse right shoulder. We speculated for a long time, and then it kind of just drew out. So left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We didn't know that it was going to drag out that long, but now with the hindsight, we can see it. But I mean, it looks like a jank inverse head and shoulders. And now if this back test and out, I mean, this would be a phenomenal move. It would definitely get you every bit of up here. And that would be the bullish and bearish sign of this actual pattern. So like we're in a very deep moment here. It's actually phenomenal where we're at. Not the bullish or bearish, but like to get out of this zone bullish would be, because that's the broadening wedge resistance. I think I need to be clearer, because that is the bullish or bearish part, but not in the entire pattern. Like if we were to maintain this pattern, we would have to get back over in current times, and it's such a crazy feisty little one when you get below the uptrend, because it's very volatile. You're supposed to continue moving up. So this was the cycle uptrend. So now if you pull it into real time, and these are cool, just for educational purposes, of course. So now if we were to break out, we would have to come all the way up here now and break that. Like that was the uptrend that was created, and we can say, well, what the hell is that? That's a pointless uptrend. Well, it's not, because the whole way up when we were very volatile, we used it, and then when we got rejected the first time around it, we fell. So I don't think it's bullshit. In fact, well, the way I have it set up is bullshit, but I don't think it is necessarily BS, because I think it was rather important if we could get back above it. But that just shows you when it started. That doesn't mean that's where it ends. But I think we have a very big pattern we could be working on. You know, very big. So we'll see what happens here. And it's jank. And I've also made the argument, and this is the one I hope doesn't go through. After all, we've already broken out to the top side in the short-term range. I hope it's not boom, boom, and then it has to swing around again. I'm hoping that it's the first choice here, because I think it makes more sense that it created something like that, and that falling channel breaking out, back testing this side of it would be, as long as it doesn't break back through it, I'm okay with it. But after today, it won't show 222. It's going to end up showing. I'll end up putting it out for the future, probably for the end of the week for the candle close. So it'll be somewhere around 218 if you're watching tomorrow. So you can stay ahead by just staying ahead by being here. But yeah, so risk assets, especially all the stuff Trump's announcing with the tariffs. And I'm not saying it's because of him the market's going down, but it's a cheap excuse. It's a cheap way to say tomorrow, that son of a bitch, he's the reason why. But the truth is the market was overzealous. It was overbought, and now it's cooling off. But now we have this chance to take a little bit of control back. But remember, it's going to take the institutions. And it's coming. There's a lot of money that's coming. So the fifth wave is not called off. It hasn't been canceled. The bull market hasn't ended. We're just in a mini bear market. And that happens within every bull market. Shane, I seen you ask today in the Telegram if it's no, or somebody asked. I thought it was Shane. Maybe it was somebody. No, maybe it was somebody else. Could have been Shane, could have been somebody, maybe James or somebody else, but they asked if it's normal for a bull market to drop like this, and I think it was yesterday. And it is normal. I've seen bull markets that drop 50 to 70% before they ultimately reach the peak. So some 80%. We've had in the history of Bitcoin, I think it dropped 80% one time, but then made a very swift new high, within a very short, probably a few month period. And it continued higher. Sometimes all it's doing is it's hooking for a left shoulder. So right now, there's, and I'll do the intro and then I'll talk and see everybody who's here. But sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, because we're so short-sighted in the 4 hourly and it looks like a head and shoulders, and then in the daily, if you just take it out, I like to do it in the weekly because it kind of gives you something to brace for. Instead of it looking so bad, sometimes when you take it into the weekly, instead of just looking at it in like the 4 hourly or the daily, sometimes you just happen to see, hey, maybe that was just a left shoulder to the ultimate cycle area. And then we could work our way maybe down, and maybe it was doing, and that's what I always end up seeing. Like maybe these are, and it always ends up playing that way for some, like that's just one gigantic shoulder with the way XRP bounced out. So now when you start doing it in perspective and you're like, holy shit, what does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what that means. And then I might talk to everybody. It's not that I don't want to talk to everybody. It's just I'm trying to build a point here. So if that's the whole building up, and this is the whole consolidation out, and I'll show you why it's important what I'm doing too, because we're going to speculate into the future. We've done this before. So then you just meet. We're trying to meet. Where do we meet? Where do we meet? How do we not get the pants tonight? Actually, it'd be later this year. But either way, it's the same narrative here. We're trying not to get the pants. Let's see. That one emulates it a little bit, but we got to go back to the other one that I was working on. I think it was this one. Yeah, so let's just say it is doing something like that. Well, wherever it breaks out, you know, you're going to have a pretty big indicator of, hey, this is just the left shoulder. So, I mean, that's how you get that 482. We've built this before. But if you're wondering, and that's just it playing out until like summer, you know, late summer, getting closer to the next spring or fall area. Not quite to the pumpkins, but so I mean that's definitely something we could be dealing with. But the good news about this is, even if it's bearish, we're still going to come up to like 280, and then we'll see. Then we'll know for sure. I'm actually pining for something like that to happen, just so I know. So I know. I don't like the gas anymore. Screw this broadening wedge. It doesn't even make sense. I think it's more like this. I mean, it makes sense, but now it's too spread out. So I'm kind of thinking that that's probably what it is. And this is probably just one big part of the structure. And then wave 5 would form a big head if that's how it's supposed to be. And then the masses would be like, oh my fucking God, these jabronis who didn't buy XRP, they're so stupid. We're so friggin' rich. I'm buying, I don't care, I forgot. You know, and then people will be like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't buy it. It's at $5.50 fucking cents. I'm all in. Fuck it. Or it's at $5. It's over. I didn't buy it at 50 cents for, you know, 10,000 tokens for $5,000. But fuck it, I'm spending my mortgage. I'm spending 50 grand to buy these same tokens. At that point, you see the institutions, or the whales, I should say, as they're pouring in. And then what happens? Those people end up getting shit on, and then they got to wait till the next bull market. And then it'll go higher, but they might be sitting on it for 3 years. You know, like look at all the people from 2017. They might be getting their money back, or they might have damn well got all of it back at that push to 340. But man, they had to sit there for a few years and fund the project. That's what it's all about. You need funding. That's how I think they fund. They get unintentional investors that end up having to sit there for long periods of time. And then the ones who chicken out, they just take their money as if it's an unpaid loan. It's a good way to look at crypto. If you're not willing to sit there to invest, and maybe sit there for a while if you buy it in the wrong part of the market. Like anywhere you would have bought here, like anywhere. After the last bull run, anywhere. That's why I kept saying anywhere. Yeah, I might not buy above 50, but it doesn't mean you can't, but especially in the 50-cent range, because I happen to buy it much cheaper. And then when it came to 38, it's like there's another chance. But now it's like, well, you're buying it up here. If it doesn't work out, I mean, what do you expect? There's got to be some kind of consolidation. And I hear the narrative by XRP people, and I love it. It never gets old. XRP, I mean, it never moves. It always makes me lose money. This is the narrative. I love it. I love this community. This pile of shit. I thought I was going to make $10,000 in a day. I thought I was going to make $10 million next week. Why isn't the price at $100? It never moves. I mean, everybody tells us it's the influence. It's like, guys, I watched it, and I did this program for 4 fucking years. And for 3 3/4 of those 4 years, and we didn't miss a day, XRP was below $1 and better yet below 50 cents most of the time. So now when we're sitting here and it's at $2.34, I laugh. I'm like, oh my God, these 10,000 tokens that used to be worth, and I base it on 10,000, you know the logic. I thought it was more attainable. And 10,000 was worth like between 3,000 and 5,000 for 90% of the time I've been doing this show. 3,000 and 5,000. Now it's worth 23,000. Everybody, oh, XRP shit. It doesn't make us anything. You tell me what your money, if you would have put that $5,000 in the bank right now, what's that value of it? It's less than 5,000. It might say 5,000 on the screen, but in inflation terms, now if you put it in gold, you'd be doing okay still, but it still wouldn't be worth 23,000. So, I mean, that's the point. You know, that's why I don't keep a bunch of money in the bank. I'm not keeping it in the fucking bank. You know, even the money I put in a CD, the only reason I did that is because I wasn't willing to risk for a short period of time because that's my bathroom money, the 15,000 to remodel my bathroom. So I figured I would do it safe and put it in a CD, and in 2 months it made me 500 and something dollars. So look, I increased my budget because I knew it was going to be a couple months before I could go down that road. No, now we're down that road because I want to get everything done at once. So now that CD matures April 13th, and then I can use that money to do my bathroom. And we're about to meet there perfectly because it's about, I don't know, a week and a half, 2 weeks out from when my whole house is hopefully done now. And then it's just the bathroom, not doing any of the rooms. But so I use all avenues. But in crypto, if you're looking for, I've got to use this in a month, you know, it's not exactly a good store of value. Now, if you're like, I need to use this in 3 years, well, okay, now we got something to work with because that's exactly what I did. In 21, I invested in the bear market. Long story short, if you haven't been around, this is my 4th year here. I've never missed a day. My anniversary is March 24th, from 21 to 25 now. A little older, a little wiser, a little thinner, a lot more muscular than I was when I first started. Can't see quite as good, but I never could, so you know that's not so bad. Makes sunny days interesting. But anyhow, 21 we had that bear market. We bought 47 cent average, sold at $1.66 when it looked like the top was going to fall out. Unfortunately, we were right. We made a proclamation we wouldn't buy over 40 cents because we were waiting for it to come back to the uptrend from 2017 because that pattern had been playing out. We did what we did. We bought at 34, then we bought again at 38 and 24, and then we let it rocket. You know, and now we're just sitting pretty. And, you know, some profit was obviously able to be taken, but that's because we preach if you're new, we preach buy twice as much as you were going to. And if you can't do it at once, then make sure you collect cans, do whatever, work overtime, and just buy up. But don't put yourself out on the, you know, on the road. But I put off 4 years worth of work on my house for one glorious moment because I knew crypto would reverse back into a cycle. And now it's truly a glorious moment because I was able to do at the end of the day probably 70,000 in renovations by the time it's all said and done. But it's about the cycle. And right now, I don't believe the cycle's over. I guess the point of all of this is like, don't expect too much. But if you do it right, every single cycle, you're going to be able to improve yourself just that much more. Just that much more. And every time you get a cycle right, you're going to have that much more to work with. There's just that much more. You know, and I know some people are looking at DGB and they're, oh, fuck, 1.04 cents, Tom. I bet you somebody's commenting it right now. If Jennifer's here, I'm sure she has. Or not her. She's not going to freak out about it, but some other people will. They're going to say, oh, my God, Tom, did it fail again? I mean, it's not that it failed. We're getting closer to the weekend. The way I look at it is DGB came up, how much? And where has it not kind of tested much of? So I expect it fully probably to come back here somewhere. Now that it failed this area, I'm not saying it has to, but I'm looking for an inverse head and shoulders to be created. So what we're looking at here, and this is why you can't have the short-sighted mindset. So it broke out from here. We fulfilled this entire thing, actually came up to the second target. Now we were unable to hold this. So if it does come down here, I would fully anticipate it comes back down here. And if you bought it before the breakout, you're up at least 15% still when it comes back down there. So you're not really sweating. I wouldn't be. But we're looking to see if that can create a nice inverted pattern. And it doesn't need to come all the way down there. Like, don't get me wrong. It does not have to come down there. But for argument's sake, I'm just saying, like, hey, we came up, we created this, back to a big fucking head, back down. If it does this and swings out, my dear Lord, we're going to be moving up very swiftly. You know, I'm not worried in the grand scheme because I believe this is just a right shoulder on a much larger inverse head and shoulders. So it's starting to mimic the patterns. And that's what I mean. Like when they start mimicking the patterns, it is a very glorious thing. So I'm going to go let my cat in and then I'm going to do the intro. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm going to turn on the comments. Holy crap. I went through 20 minutes of that spew, my dear Lord. Wow. Goes. Come here, kitty. Come on. Good kitty. I know the house is a lot different, isn't it? Goes. Come here. Goes. Goes. Hey. Goes. Yeah. There you go. All right, despite the antics of my cat, good evening. 7:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, March 27th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So I realized something, and I showed Julie, it was alarming. How quickly XRP Healthcare moves is insanity. Like XRP was quick. I decided to do a test between my wallet and the exchange, and XRP was almost like instantaneous. It was like maybe a couple fractions, maybe 1 to 3 seconds. When I tell you XRP Healthcare, every time I did the test from the exchange back to the app, when I say it literally did it in like, by the time I read the message on my screen, when it said it was successful, it went through. XRP would say successful, and then it would take a couple seconds, which is nothing. But I was like, Julie, are you seeing this? Like, I think this is the only one I've ever done that I was like that blown away. And I'm like, holy hell. Like, that is like unbelievably quick. Like, it actually made me like, holy crap. I don't know if anybody else has had that pleasure of actually paying attention to that, because, you know, I don't know, I paid attention to it. So I don't know if anybody else has seen that, but hell, I don't even know if I can see. Oh, I can see comments. But yeah, it was insanity. George, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor and the $1.99 donation. You are welcome, my friend. You're welcome. I appreciate you as well. I'll check through the comments to make sure if anybody sent anything, or if I need to, if I missed anything that was super, super important. Like, I always hate to miss if somebody joins Tom's Army or a donation or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so let's see. I don't think I see anything really else. Let's see. Oh yeah, I knew there was something. Jorge, thank you for being Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. Says, hey, my new badge, everyone hit that like button. Yeah, thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. That's incredibly awesome. That's incredibly awesome. So let's go through this, because once I get done with this, it's back to the grind. And I'm sure most of you are in the grind as well. Hey, look, from all accounts, I'm doing great. We're going to go do a little fishing back here. You know, it's nice to be out here in the, where the hell are we at? I don't know. It looks like a glorious spot back here. Looks like a beautiful spot back here in like a cabin area. So, looks like I'm just going to be stepping out my back porch and I'm going to do some fishing. Yeah. If only it was that simple. But yeah, that is not the back of my window. Unfortunately, that is the back of my front of my TV. So XRP, what are we really looking at here? Like, what do we really need to pay attention to? I think we broke it down pretty good. Now that I have the comments on, when I was going through my, and I don't want to say spew, but just showing this, does this make sense? If XRP was in something like this, and that was one big shoulder that is actually forming here, and then wave 5 when it's ready, then it could ultimately break out. But you see how this could bring us to that 150 area, no problem, and how this could also take us into like September. So patience is a virtue, folks. If we waited 7 years, don't you think if there's going to be another expansion that it might take a few months? That's why I don't like to put labels on things. I don't like to put timetables. I just like to let it play out the way it's supposed to. And I'm very, very, very transparent about that. I definitely want to see it play out, and I don't want our hopes to be waning, because that would mean that if you didn't buy an XRP, you would buy it in this consolidation before the next breakout. Very nice, George. Very nice. We need rate cuts to get to all-time highs, I believe. Oh, yeah. Once we get that rate cut, and that's going to happen. So I don't know if it's going to take until September. We're just waiting. Remember, the next meeting they have is when I expect rate cuts. I've been on the ball so far. I thought they'd keep it the same because it was too early. They've got to make it look like there's no other choice. Like if they don't cut rates, it's over. And it's all, if they cut rates, it cements the deal. But the illusion is if they cut rates, it'll make things okay. The markets will pump, and the markets will pump. At some point, they will. Don't kid yourselves. With Trump, the markets will do fine. It's just right now the buyers, like the institutions and the ones who understand what Trump's agenda and what he's about to do here, he's allowing them to get into the market right now. It's no different than what happened, not 4 years ago, but 8 years ago now. So I definitely see it building into a beautiful takeoff. But while this has been happening, although gold, silver gone unnoticed again, gold's back up to 3,050. You've got silver up to $34.40 an ounce. And I'm telling you, these silver mining stocks and gold mining stocks are not going to even be here forever. I was saying that when B2 gold was at $2.40 and gold, Barrick gold was at 16 and Fortuna was at 250. First Majestic was at like $4. Now it's not exactly that low. Hell, I've been saying this to my audience, and silver was at 16 and gold was at 1,600. And now gold's over 3,000. That's a big difference. And the mining stocks, I believe, are the cheapest way to get these out of the ground outside of silver. Silver is so friggin' cheap, and it's got a long ways to go, and I believe we got a long ways to go. This is going to be a glorious time for my friends in the mining sector who appreciate the mining stocks, for my friends who appreciate precious metals, and also my friends that appreciate emerging markets, because I believe we're going to have a glorious time. So, and the emerging markets are the two that you see that are delayed on the top. The Vanguard Emerging Markets Bond, and then the Eaton Vance Emerging Market DEP. So, but they're both dividend-based bond. Or, mutual fund, I should say. Juan, thank you so much for the $6.99 donation. I greatly appreciate that. And thank you for over, 3 months with the XRP Meteor along with Papa Wheelie. I also see Jorge and George over 6 months in Tom's Army. Frankie in his second month of the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. It's good to see the support continues, even when the crypto market's volatile. And, and kind of very volatile. And, well, not really volatile, but it's just, we've been kind of stuck in a little area here, which is fine. I'd rather be stuck here with XRP at 233 and doing this, let's go from $1.50 up to $3 kind of thing, instead of going from 28 to 60 or 40 to 90. I mean, we're in a whole different area. Now, for the rest of crypto outside of Bitcoin and a few decisive ones, you can make the argument that, well, what the hell are you talking about, Tom? Look how low our prices are. Like, I understand that DGB is at 1.06 cents and it was at 16 plus in the last bull market. I understand that XLM's only at 28 fucking cents and the disparity is only supposed to be about a 3.75 to 1 on its worst day. And right now we're sitting at 9 to 1 disparity. I understand that algo's sitting, at, where are we at right now today? I don't know, at 21.1 cents. And it's been, where the fuck has algo been? Damn near, because it's crazy when you start looking at where it's been in its history. 21, $3. And we're sitting at fucking 20 cents. IOTA's been over $6, sitting at 19.8 cents. It's amazing. So I always laugh that's what we were getting. I always laugh just a little bit when I hear people diss XRP. It's like, wouldn't you like to talk? Aren't you the cocksuckers, excuse my French, that, got weasel dicks? And you're going to talk about this when this is one of the few assets in crypto that is actually appreciated here by a staggering amount and could have made life-changing money. I mean, literally, you tell me if that's life-changing money. If I told you to buy 10,000 tokens, or if I told you to put $3,500 in, and now here we are just over a year later and it's worth $23,000, is that life-changing? I'm being serious. Like, for me, it may not be as life-changing today as it would have been 5 or even 10 years ago, But for some, you're in the spot I was at just 5 years ago or 10 years ago. It makes a huge fucking difference, don't get me wrong. But I'm not eating out of a garbage can right now, so to say. You know, I'm in a slightly different position. But I mean, it's still, it's transcending in a way. Like when you see something. So now it's like we're asking ourselves the question: if we're buying algo here and we put $2,000 or $2,100 towards it for that 10,000 tokens, are we gonna have a similar come up? So now, if you say yes, and you think it's gonna be at a couple dollars, now you're talking about, well, this one we made 20,000 on, now algo we made 20,000 on. And shit, like for me, DGB, I have 1.6 million, around 0.006. How I could even say 0.065 if I want to bring it up, even though I shouldn't. Because I bought a large amount at, you guys know the story. I'm not going to keep going over it. But I have 1.6 plus million, yes, plus million tokens of DGB. So if I say, hey, you know, those, I don't know, 1.6 million that I spent 9,000 for, $8,000 or $9,000. Well, maybe not that much because I was basing that in my head off of 1 cent. But let's just say $8,000 overall. Let's just say it was somewhere in the ballpark. Am I expecting that $8,000 to turn into 80 or 160? Yes, I am actually. So I'm looking at these as short term. That money's disappeared. It's no different than when I buy a bar of gold or silver. It's not mine anymore. It's disappeared, whether it's buried somewhere, whether I've sent it off somewhere for safe storing, whether I keep it somewhere else, you know, just because, you know, some people have safer areas. I'm not going to say who because then, you know, that's not good. But you get the picture. You've got safe storing in multiple places because you need bunk out somewhere. You never know where you're going to be. So, you know, or however you decide to do it, if you have it stored up in mutual funds, you know it's going to take time to work. Like Dave Ramsey's a beautiful soul with some of the things he says. He talks about, like, you know, even if it's only $5,000 or $10,000 a year, if you can do it, you know, you start building it up, and it's not about, oh, I only put $5,000 this year into it. I like to use the 7,000 rule, and that's the IRA. If you do your traditional, you can write off $7,000 a year. Now, if you're over 50, it's a little bit more, and every year it changes. But at least in 24, it was 7,000. So you do the 7,000, and now let's just say, like for me, I'm 41. So I did 7,000 in 24. 7,000 I'll do in 25. And let's just say I'll do 25 friggin' years, right? So if you start looking at it that way, let's just do 20. That's 140,000. That's not counting the appreciation with dividends, the reinvestments, the compounded, you know, funds that you'll have each time the dividends are reinvested. And then maybe you get a 5 or 6 year, you know, 10-year return on top of the dividends and the percentage paid from the mutual fund. So, but at the end of the day, you can expect to have X amount of dollars. And when you start to look at it, it's pretty freaking crazy. It's pretty freaking crazy how a $7,000 investment, you know, a year can turn into something if you just understand the way to do it. But you've got to do the right investment. You can't just do it for 20 years in a dying market. That's why I like the emerging markets and the mutual fund sector. And obviously it took me 8,000 years to find the right one because Vanguard has a whole, they all have a, I like one that's more safe and one that's more, you know, risky. But that's just, you know, you got to have like 100 different hands in this fight. It's pretty intense. Yeah, a lot of people have money in stable coins, and honestly, if I had money in a stable coin, to me that just means I should have it in gold and silver. If I'm not planning on using it. Now, I understand the stable coin if you're on the sidelines. But if you're just putting money in stable coin to get it out of the US dollar and you have no intention of investing it, should be in gold or silver. Better yet, silver. Put it in a hard asset. Put it in real store of value. Like, I love crypto because it's speculative. Only because there's so much bullshit out there. There's nothing speculative about gold or silver. It's just, there's not. It's money. Crypto is speculative because which one's the right one? Yeah. Because we know the ISO and IoT, we're so freaking lucky. I say this all the time. We are so lucky. 10 years ago, I wouldn't have known any of this. 7 years ago, I started to see stuff about it. I'm like, oh, you know, this kind of makes sense. 5 years ago, I was compelled in 2020 to learn everything I could during COVID and after my son's accident and Julie's, their catastrophic accident that changed the course and alter of our history. Well, I mean, not catastrophic because nobody died, but it changed the course of both of them, forever. So, it was just I had two choices. I'm gonna either learn how to do all of this and understand the economy and what the hell is really going on, or we're screwed. And I chose the latter of the two. Or no, I didn't. We chose the we're not screwed route. We're not victims, and we're just gonna make the best of the situation. So I mean, if I'm looking at this, if I'm being honest, this is what we're building. That's what we're probably building. I mean, I'm not afraid to say it. If you're wondering how I came down with that right shoulder, I never said it, but you see how it lines up? Or how I bounced there? There's a reason why. What the hell? Why not just show everybody what I'm thinking? Doesn't that make sense? Doesn't that make a little more sense? If it does something like that, if it stays within the confines, I think it does. I just think it does. And it really tells us this market's either we're going up a lot more or, hey, it was fun. It was great. But, so, yeah, silver to gold ratio is coming down 88.1 to 1 right now. No, George's is a 6-month badge, my friend. The XRP predictor is a 6-month badge, what George has. It's cool because I'm going to be able to do the 4-year badge here. I got to look to see how close we are. Because I became a partner, believe it or not, 2 weeks after I did my first video on YouTube. I got very lucky when I did my first XRP video. And it just had such a great thing that a couple weeks later, and then, it took a couple weeks. So I would say by either May or June, I'll have my 4-year badge. And that's the Diamond Hands badge. Or not Diamond Hands, that's the XRP one, but not the one you see on these. It's the original one with XRP. It might evolve. I'm actually going to change my title thing. And I'm doing it a little different because the other tokens are too big. And I'm going to have the little eagles. I'm going to have eagles, but they're going to be smaller versions. And they're going to pick up the little versions of like Algo and these. And you're going to see them all scattered through the screen. But it's going to be little versions at their feet. Like you're going to see the little Algo token in it. Because to me, XRP needs to be its own. Some of them that I like a little bit more, you're going to see them like DGB is going to be rather big. XLM will be a little bit bigger. Algo, they'll be bigger, but you'll understand what I mean when I show it. But they're going to be more in the background of the picture. I think it's going to look really cool and stellar. Because I've been thinking about it. But yeah, so I've been thinking a lot about this stuff. I got nothing but time to think. I'm not working a traditional job, but it's very important for my investments to stay on point. Like there's a lot more than meets the eye here. So I do this all day, every day for a reason. And I got no choice. Like I said back in 21, if I screw this up, it's over. I got one chance at this, and that's it. So you might as well be with somebody who literally has everything to lose, and the only thing to gain is consistency, I suppose. Because once you lose it all, what's it really matter? Consider subscribing to Tom's channel for the best TA on YouTube. Yes, please do. We've been stuck at 31,000. Yes, we're going up. We've had 20 new subscribers this week, but it's been stellar. It's been a slow time. That's mostly my fault. I think this is the best version of the channel that you're gonna get, like how it is today. But it is what it is. Not many are gonna stick around for this kind of talk. Not many are gonna, especially because the market. Nobody wants to hear, oh man, I'm coming to see Tom and he's telling me it's probably coming down. That's a bear flag. Like what the hell? It's like nobody wants to hear it, but like we got to be honest. In the 2 hourly, we put this death cross in, and we're not showing any volume. Now, can it turn around? Sure, it can. Could it also be a bear flag? More of a chance that it's a bear flag. Small chance that it reverses, and it would be a rather nice reversal. But nobody wants to hear the truth except the ones who do, and the ones who do are here, and I appreciate it. And I want to hear the truth. I want to hear the truth. I want to hear the truth. So, but it's nice, look, we've been here for 39 minutes. I thought that said 29 minutes. Has it really been 40 minutes? Joseph, thank you so much for not only being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor, but also the $10 donation. You generous son of a bitch. Excuse my friends. I'm not one to use cuss words, but you know, some sailors do lie. Thank you, Joseph. I appreciate the $10 donation. Head and shoulders there as well the past few days on XRP. Yeah, I know, Joseph. If anybody wants to complain about XRP or this bearish moment, write Joseph at josephkupiak@gmail.com, and you can put in all of your complaints to him. I'm just kidding. I'm sure somebody has that email, so if you do send it there, I'm sure somebody is gonna be very happy to get a little bit of back and forth. So hey, Papa Wheelie, I know you've been here, but thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. You know, we got to keep it a little light here. Got to keep it a little light. So let's see what this says. Ooh, what's this? Pretty close to my email. Oh, man, that's awesome. That is awesome. Jan, oh, I love it. Jan, thank you so much for being here, love, for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. What did that say? 39 months, I think. It was either 38 or 39. Jan has been here since the very beginning. Unbelievable. Like Jan was able to watch us when slightly different Tom was talking and had the reins. Let's just say it was a more, I don't want to say it was a more transparent time, but it was certainly a more, I don't know what we call those times. I'm not sure. But 1,178% liquidation imbalance stuns XRP bulls in just 24 hours. So despite the lack of action on the cryptocurrency market, at first glance, a second look actually opens up quite an elegant picture, especially when placed on the liquidation data of perpetual futures on cryptocurrencies. For example, CoinGlass presents a stark picture as 229.74 million were liquidated in the past 24 hours. 160.9 million, or ironically 69.69%, were lost in long positions. That is 2/3 of the total in a rather bearish statistic, which is obvious, but it is not the wildest figure that can be extracted from this data, because for XRP, for example, the imbalance in liquidations between bulls and bears over the period was a whopping 1,178%. That is exactly how much more was liquidated on the long side than on the short side. Just think of the 12.31 million liquidated in XRP futures trading over the last 24 hours. Only $963,050 were for misplaced sales. Okay? Okay, this is how we learn. Ready? I used to do this, and we're going to do it again. Now, this isn't me saying what it is, right? You can't blame me for pointing out obvious manipulation. Misplaced sales in futures. No, not lost sales. Forgot Google's stupid. I mean, it's I don't want to say it's like washing, but it kind of is. But anyhow, let's continue. This is exactly how much more was liquidated. Blah, blah. What's fascinating is the price of XRP fell 5% in that time. A small margin on the cryptocurrency market, though, still quite large for the 137 billion market cap asset. But the 4-figure imbalance in liquidation shows just how optimistic XRP traders were just 24 hours earlier. Perhaps too optimistic. The altcoin is now the 3rd largest, not only among the top cryptocurrencies, but also in the liquidations data rankings. If one tries to find a glimmer of hope in all of this, one could say that the tilt toward bulls liquidations could be big enough for the market pendulum to reverse. However, this thesis will take time and patience to prove. So they're saying bulls kind of got kicked in the nuts here in the leverage side. I think it's more, it is what it is. This was a little partnership. I knew there was something else I read. I read a couple things, actually. How much time do we have left? We got a little bit of time. Ripple Chipper Cash partner for faster and cheaper African remittance. Ripple has partnered with African payment infrastructure provider Chipper Cash to support crypto-enabled cross-border payments. According to a March 27th announcement, Chipper Cash will use Ripple payments for its cross-border transactions. As part of the deal, the company said the partnership is designed to offer faster, cheaper, more efficient settlements. Reese Merrick, Ripple's managing director for Middle East and Africa, said that the partnership is an important step in the firm's expansion in the region. He also highlighted that African customers and businesses, or consumers and businesses, are increasingly recognizing the potential of blockchain technology. The collaboration comes as blockchain adoption continues to grow across Africa. So our brothers and sisters in Africa, this is pendulum swinging in that direction as far as innovation, particularly in the remittance and payment sectors. A recent report for chain analysis found that stablecoins now make up nearly half of all transaction volume in sub-Saharan Africa. Similarly, a late 2024 report suggested that a number of emerging economies across Africa have the potential to become digital asset hubs, Merrick said. I know that because a lot of the emerging market stuff I look at, some happens to be in Africa. By integrating our technology into Chipper Cash's platform, we're enabling faster, more affordable cross-border payments while driving economic growth and innovation across the markets they serve. Growing blockchain adoption and remittance. Says, and I know, guys, this isn't always the sexiest stuff, but I think this is the most fascinating because I like to know what we're investing in. I mean, to me, this is beautiful. So, the Ripple executive further highlighted that as the remittance market grows, many companies are deciding to adopt blockchain technology because of the increased operational efficiency that it allows. Chipper Cash co-founder and CEO Ham Saranjogi said the implementation of crypto in the industry has far-reaching consequences in Africa. Crypto-enabled payments have the potential to enable greater financial inclusion, accelerate access to the global markets, and empower businesses and individuals across Africa, he said. Saranjogi further explained that by integrating Ripple, Chipper Cash was able to allow its customers to receive payments faster and at lower cost. The partnership also expands on Ripple's 2023 Anna Frick deal using the firm's infrastructure to process payments between 27 African countries and Australia, the United Kingdom, and the Gulf Cooperation Council. In March, Ripple also secured a Dubai license to offer cryptocurrency-powered payments in the United Arab Emirates. The company will also likely step up its activities following its recent win against the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse said at the time that the decision provides a lot of certainty for Ripple, he added. We now are in the driver's seat to determine how we want to proceed. Ripple and Chipper Cash did respond to Cointelegraph's request for comment by wait a minute. They did respond. Interesting. XRP gives profit to 70% of South Korean investors. Don't care. XRP consolidating near end. Major move. I care about this. I don't know if I can see comments, but I'm sure maybe there's just not a lot of people commenting. I think that's fair. Because there's not much to talk about. I mean, we're catching up on the news, and this is a part in the pattern. And also remember, it's March Madness, so I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna watch some basketball after this too. Why not? But it's just this is one of those stale moments in the market. It's been fun though. It's been a fun night. Yeah, see, I couldn't see any of this. Trading with J Ride, thank you so much for the $10 donation. And also being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XP Diamond Hands badge. Says, just because. Love it. Love it. Tom, can you duplicate the old time for us? Oh, it'd be too much. I don't even know if I could. Because it would be like a mind fuck. It'd be like me shifting my own demeanor in my mind. But it's if you ever seen The Sopranos, James Gandolfini acts, that's basically how I am, or how I was when something would not exactly be going my way, or if I thought I had to point something out. But you know, it was big. You could go back to some of my older videos, circa 2022, and find the right one, or 21, and it would satisfy the itch. But basically my thing was, I mean, my motto was get with it or get the fuck out. If that makes you, if Frankie, if that can put it in perspective, that's exactly what the motto was, what I just told you. But yeah, it's a whole mind thing. Because you start talking like that, then you start bringing that energy. It's not, I don't really want that energy. But, um, so XRP consolidating nears end, major move incoming Ripple price analysis. So Ripple's momentum has stalled at the critical 100-day move. And if you're bored, everybody, this is important. But yeah, it was. And it was get with it or get the fuck out. And I'm not gonna tickle your balls, I would say all the time. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like you can get with it. And I would say that I'm not gonna tickle them, but I sure as hell will squeeze them. Because sometimes you need a big slap in the face or a kick in the, that kind of thing. Because it's true though. It's very true, and a lot of people need it. But a lot of people watch me with kids now, so I apologize for the blast from the past. But this juncture is pivotal. A breakout above this resistance could trigger a significant rally, while a rejection may result in a sharp decline. XRP analysis. So XRP's price has stalled upon reaching the crucial 100-day moving average at $2.50. With bullish momentum fading and volatility declining, this period of consolidation suggests that a decisive move, either a breakout or rejection, is imminent. The presence of sellers at this level increases the likelihood of a rejection, which could trigger a bearish cascade. However, if buyers break above this resistance, a short squeeze could push the price toward the key $3 threshold. So on the 4-hour chart, Ripple's recent bullish momentum has slowed on the lower time frame, leading to sideways consolidation and muted volatility. Market activity remains low, indicating a balance between buyers and sellers. The asset faces a strong resistance zone between $2.50 and $2.80, where significant selling pressure could limit further upside. Given current, and that's that $2.80 we're talking about, that we want to see if this pattern can start to show us something more. We know there's a falling channel here in the smaller and larger scales, and I like how they highlighted it as well. It's just, we need to see if there's something deeper there. And there very well could be, but we'll see. Given current conditions, further consolidation within the $2 to $2.80 range seems more likely in the midterm. Can't disagree. However, a breakout above $2.80 aligned with the upper boundary of a bullish flag pattern could ignite a fresh uptrend, potentially setting the stage for a new all-time highs. I agree with that. Because if you could get through here, you would be setting the stage. But now, there's optimism there and there's not. I don't know if I want to read anymore. You can only read so much. But yeah, I mean, that's basically all I got tonight, everybody. Because we're stuck in a holding area. I can only break dreams so many times. I put the number down there. I drew this out a little while ago, where I thought that right shoulder would come. There's a reason why. And I will just target it. We're just going to target a drop here. There's no momentum here, unfortunately. We have this dot cross in the 2-hour time frame. That's very bearish in the 2-hour. We need to get above it, but right now we're showing absolutely positively no testicular fortitude. So that could drive the price lower. So I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I appreciate everybody. I really, 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 really do. As I go out, AMP real quick, because somebody said please at 4.2 cents. And I still think the market is it's got a lot of volatility, and it doesn't necessarily mean it goes down. AMP, all you need to know, the one who asked, AMP needs to get above this level. Right now it's at 4.0043. It's a very wide pattern, and we've got to get back above that. Otherwise, if you're below this uptrend, it's bad news. It's bad news. It's bad news. It's bad news. But right now we're trying to reverse up. We've just got to get past there. It's just, there's no momentum there. It came up to that line as resistance right now. But if it gets back within there, it's got a very steady uptrend to that 0052 at least. And then we'll decide. But right now there's just nothing there. There's nothing there. It's got to get back above there. And then we can maybe come up way higher. But That's a very big pattern that is doing diddly squat right now. So we need to get above there. But I gotta go. I got a lot of work to do here. I gotta go help Julie as well. I told her I would. She's been very, lenient and she's cool and things like that. So, but I want to go help her. So have a blessed evening, everybody.